Bang ding ding, trademark. He come out 6'7" tall. Bang ding ding, 1 star. Bang dong ding dong ding dong ding dong ding dong ding dong ding. This is a perfect day.
Woke up to the sound of the garbage truck again. Upstairs neighbor's toilet's leaking on my head. Cars broke down, I missed the bus, there runs a 10. I had a feeling this was a day to stay in bed. I finally left my pad right under Jumbo's cloud roof. A police officer pulled out his gun and said, I said, sir, you got the wrong guy. I guess it's just a perfect day. It's just a perfect day. Na, 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 na.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another exciting episode of Eggs. I am not that guy. That's
That
Mike.
would be me.
Sorry,
I'm
I had
Mike.
the wrong camera. That's Mike. I'm Ryan. Welcome back to the show. Today, it's been a few minutes since we had an opportunity to catch up and do one of these things solo. So Mike and I thought we ought to get back together and rap a little bit. We are excited because we're taping later on this afternoon a show with next week's guest. So that'll be a lot of fun. His name is Oscar Trimboli. He's a expert in deep listening. So I think we're going to have an awesome conversation. So looking forward to that. However, until we learn how to deep listen, we'll talk over each other for the next 45 minutes or so. So welcome back. So I guess just to get into things, first things first, how you been, Mikey?
I've been good. Just busy like normal. How have you been?
I'm living the dream. I've been working a lot lately. So unfortunately, things have just been sort of like nose down. Like I'm not doing a ton of anything but work, which is, it's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing. It's great in that, we're staying busy. There's a lot to do, but it sucks in that I have become a super hermit.
Yeah,
And
I feel your pain.
I mean, I've basically just been working from home. I mean, I have all these downtown co-working spaces and stuff booked and reserved, and I pay my monthly fees too and all this stuff. And like, I've literally not left my house in like a month and a half.
Is it just because of work overload, or is it?
It's
a little
that, but
bit
it's
of everything?
also just more convenient. My kids go to school near the house, so like after I drop them off, I can be back home and back to work in like 5 minutes.
Or back to bed.
Yeah, I wish. No, but I've been, just going right back to work or getting right to work real quick in the mornings, and versus driving all the way into the city and fighting traffic and all this other stuff. So it's been pretty tough to motivate me to leave the house lately.
Well, good thing we do this once a week to get you out of there.
Yeah, right. Because otherwise, and that was the problem. Is last week you were gone in sunny Arizona, which we'll talk about here in a moment. But that was part of the problem, is that I didn't need to leave, so I just stayed home in my little home office, and nice and cozy, wrapped up in blankets, and enjoying myself, because here in Utah it is subarctic.
Oh, it's ridiculous. What is going on right now?
Yeah, it's killing me. They were saying on the news this morning that it's going to be the 7th coldest Halloween on the records here in Salt Lake, and so I'm definitely not looking forward to that.
That's when
I've
you
still
just
got-
send Ethan or your kid out with, hey, you're in charge. Don't do anything bad.
Yeah, well, that's actually sort of
Don't
what's,
die.
Yeah, it's actually sort of what's going on. So the boys, we have a Spanish intern living with us again, Adriana, and Adriana has never done Halloween, so she wants to do it, and so
There you
my
go.
wife has
Pass it off on
Yeah.
her.
Well, my wife has a rule that after 6th grade you don't get to go trick-or-treating anymore, just because she hates it when the old kids come to the door and all that stuff.
Have you seen that video of the guy with the kid that he like sets down and rings the door, and they give him candy, and then picks him up and walks away? He has like a total fake kid, and he's filming it just to get the reactions.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
No, I love that though. So, but yeah. So anyway, so because she's never had a Halloween, the boys and her schemed together. They're going to be Lock, Shock, and Barrel, who are 3 characters from Nightmare Before Christmas.
Okay.
The little henchmen of Oogie Boogie, and so they're going to be dressed up as those guys and taking Adriana on her first trick or treat. So I imagine it will be short-lived because it's going to be cold, but we just bought a house in a neighborhood this year, and so this will be our first like trick-or-treat in a neighborhood since the kids are pretty little. So.
Well, and it's not like the apartment complex where everyone's just kind of
Oh, hi guys.
Hey, what's up?
Sorry, my OCD is killing me. I've got an extra bug here in the corner, and it is making me
An
bonkers.
extra bug in the corner.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah. You'll see it when I refresh the camera.
Oh, okay.
Whoop. There we
it
go.
goes.
Yeah, sorry, my OCD wouldn't let that slide. A little behind the scenes of how life goes here at the Egg Show.
Yeah.
So anyway, the kids are going to be all dressed up. We've in fact got to finish crafting Adriana's costume tonight, and Lucas needs like some felt bones glued onto a hoodie. So we've
okay.
got to cut out some bones and hot glue them onto a hoodie.
That seems like a waste of a good hoodie.
Yeah, well, that was kind of my thought, but but nonetheless, they'll look cool, and they've got great masks and everything, so it'll be a lot of fun. They're looking forward to it, and like I said, I'm sure it will be a short jaunt down the street and back because
the kids will be over quick.
It'll be cold, and they're not going to be all that.
Dad, just go buy us candy.
Yeah, we may have bought too much candy. So anyway, so that's exciting. So that'll be a fun Halloween. It'll be Adriana's first Halloween ever. That wasn't just like a bar holiday. So in Spain, for example, they do Halloween, but not like we do. The kids don't go out and trick or treat or anything like that. It is
Just a
strictly
reason to get
dress up and
and
party.
Yeah.
And so Halloween is really a game for the adults over there. Like if you went door to door as a child over there, you might get some odd looks.
Dude, I am shocked at the number of people who support and appreciate the Halloween holiday here in Salt Lake.
Yeah, it's huge.
The freak nights and the haunted houses and the craziness that is Halloween here in Salt Lake is insanity.
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool. I mean, actually, Utah, for all its foibles, and it's constantly being sort of crapped on for being ultra conservative and all this. I mean, they actually do quite a few semi-progressive looking things. I mean, of course, you're, hamstrung by alcohol levels in your beer and things like that are sort of a pain in the butt. And there's some other just like weirdness. But generally speaking, they're like, at least in the city, in the center of the city, it's pretty progressive, and it's a decent city to be in.
Yeah, it's weird to me because like DJing last Friday night, I played at Twist, and there was a lot of people in costume, and that doesn't happen in Seattle until like actual Halloween day or the actual designated costume party thing. But I mean, a lot of people showed up Friday night, and there was still Saturday, and I'm playing there this Thursday, so it'll be interesting to see how many people are actually in costume. But that, to me, I won't even dress up because DJing in a mask or whatever, it doesn't
it's no
work.
Fun. What are you talking about? It works for Marshmallow.
Sure.
It works for Dead Mouse. It works for lots of
I guess
dudes.
when you hit play on a button and walk away, you can wear a mask and fist bump.
Well, yeah,
but
so maybe
for me, it doesn't work.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe the moral of the story is you're working too hard.
I guess. Yeah.
So because those guys seem
I got
to
to
have
get a ghost
formula that works.
producer and then someone to hit play for me. So.
Yeah, right. No, it seems like the way to do it. I mean, the real beauty of being able to just put on a helmet and do your work is if you're not feeling it, you just send out your brother. So, man, I'm not feeling great tonight, but I don't want to cancel and lose
or
that
just,
guarantee.
just your roadie or whatever. Just put him in the costume and hit
just
play for him.
Just any old dude. Haven't you noticed Dead Mouse's weight fluctuations? So anyway, but yeah, no, I think you might try and embrace it. I mean, my old alter ego, my DJ Easy Puppy. I think it would have worked with a little mask. It would have worked.
Yeah, or just a little dog puppy mask for you.
Yeah, for anybody who's going, huh?
What is going on?
Yeah, no, I once had this grand fantasy of becoming a DJ, but who hid my identity.
Yeah.
Much like Dead Mouse or one of these types of guys. And
I think we made a couple of edits to start working on something.
Yeah, we
for
started
you.
playing with it. It never went anywhere. If I recall right, it was actually you who were cock blocking because you sort of decided that you didn't want to be affiliated with something as insane as DJ Easy Puppy.
I didn't want to get tainted with your negative.
You could have been my ghost. You could have been
I would have been your
ghost.
ghost producer, but it would have gotten out.
Nah,
I didn't want to get tied up.
Mum's
in
the
that.
word, man. Mum's the word. So anyway, DJ Easy Puppy is dead for the moment, but maybe one day.
If you ever hear of it, don't steal the name.
That's right. I still have the.
Wasn't it something we were going to call it like sleazy puppy or something? Your wife heard
Well,
it
the
wrong?
problem was I was joking one time, like forever ago, that my DJ name was DJ Easy Money, and which is stupid. It was just me being stupid. And but my wife misheard it, and she goes, DJ Easy Puppy? And so it just stuck. So I became DJ Easy Puppy. I actually hired a guy to do some typography and create a logo and everything. Like I even had a website.
You had a full-on fake Instagram and everything.
With booking. Like you could actually send me an email, and I would have figured out how to DJ and show up.
That would have been amazing, dude.
See,
I almost want to book you now.
Well, see, back to my idea of the body double, right? I'd just send you in my stead with the puppy helmet on, and you'd be set. So see, it would have worked.
Yeah.
But cat's out of the bag now, or dog's out of the bag, I guess. But I don't know. We'll circle back. I still think it's worth doing one of these days. So anyway, but as I mentioned a little bit earlier, the reason we weren't in studio last week was Mikey here was in sunny Arizona while I was up
Yeah.
here freezing in Salt Lake City.
Dude, it was the best.
Yeah,
Like
I think
the
Mike sent
morning
me-
I left, it snowed 2 inches, and I was like, "Oh, I'm in Phoenix, and I don't have to deal with this."
Yeah, Mike sent me back a text and it was like 91 degrees in Phoenix, and I was like,
And then I sent him like a photo of Chino Banditos, and any of you know that
yeah,
history.
shout outs to Chino Banditos.
Yeah,
That's my favorite Mexican. What do they say down there? They've got it on the door.
fusion Mexican
Yeah,
or
it's
something.
basically Chinese Mexican hybrid, but they call it something Chinese.
So you can get like
tequila or something.
Chinese food and a burrito, which
Yeah.
is you just
It's
can't go
amazing.
wrong.
Well, and it's the worst because I had the idea to do that once as a young lad because I liked Chinese food, but it's the least efficient food to carry around. So, because you like your sweet and sour porks and your General Tso chicken and all that kind of good stuff. But, I mean, what do? You can't, like, hold it in your hand and walk around and eat it while you're portable. Or eat
Well,
it in
and
the
trying
car
to
or something.
drive and eat with it too,
Yeah, I
it
mean,
just doesn't work.
It's ridiculous. And so the idea was, well, what if we could wrap it in a tortilla? Because tortilla is, more or less innocuous.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, you
it's
could
got a
even do
little
like
flavor,
a
but
rice
it's not a big
tortilla,
deal.
do a hybrid.
Yeah, you
There
could get
go.
nuts, right? You could get
Yeah.
as tasteless as you want in your wrapper. But the idea was basically that you could, wrap something like with kind of a neutral flavor around something that was really yummy and then make it portable. And so these guys at Chino Banditos had the same idea and executed while I just sat around and dreamed. But nonetheless, it is an amazing place. They used to have a couple locations down in Phoenix. I think there's just the one now.
Yeah, they used to have one in Chandler, but it wasn't getting the support that the OG one was getting. So
yeah, people just
shut it
don't know.
down.
People just don't know.
I know.
So if you're ever in Phoenix, go check out Chino Banditos.
They're
It's
in
awesome.
Peoria,
Yeah.
a little bit north of Phoenix, but worth the drive.
Yeah, whatever. It's all the same. So anyway, check it out.
Yeah.
So Mikey, what were you in Arizona for?
So, do you remember when we had Jeff Jones on the show?
Yeah, DJ Jeff Jones.
Yeah, it's wedding season down there, and
Isn't it always wedding season down there? Well, I guess it has to cool off, right?
In
summer, they don't
summertime,
like
it's
it.
too dang hot. So if you have a wedding, then your cake's gonna melt, and no one's gonna want to be there. It's just bad news.
Yeah,
So
sounds like Bridezilla territory.
speaking of that, I got a few.
We
but-
love all our brides.
They're great. Love them. But no, like he booked me for a solid week. I went down there from a Thursday to a Tuesday, and in that period of time, he had 9 gigs for me, which
Oh, wow.
it was great.
Yeah, that's
So
a hectic week, though.
it's a hectic week, a lot of work, but worth it in the end. It's good to see family, get down there. I ended up going in and sitting in at. He teaches a college class at Mesa Community College on DJing, and I was a guest lecturer there. And actually, I'm heading back this week, and I'm gonna actually teach the whole class. So it'll be good to get
that's
back down there
awesome.
and do that.
Yeah, I mean, who knew? Professor Mike.
Yeah, right.
Or Professor Ontic,
I feel
guess.
bad for all the students, but no, it was
Well,
actually
so
really good.
Are you talking like the business of DJing or like practical how to be a DJ or like what kind of thing do you teach in that class?
So last time I was there, he actually accidentally double booked the night. He
Slacker.
had another guy he was working with who actually it was kind of a good thing. It was the booking guy for all of the nightclubs in Scottsdale for the most part.
Oh, wow.
The main big ones. And so it was kind of a good thing for me to actually meet this guy and get to know him. And I essentially kind of let him take the lead for the first half of the class. He had to take off, and I was just in there chiming in, talking about things that, as he brought it up, I was like, yeah, that really happens. That makes sense. And having both of us there, we kind of were able to
Kind of bounce off
of each other, which was good. And then I kind of broke down a little bit, like a quick tutorial on how to organize your music library correctly so that they don't, because that's something I figured out the hard way. And it's a pain when you spend all this time organizing something to do it wrong and then have to do it again and then do it again and do it again. So if I could alleviate that stress from someone in their life, I hope it helped.
Yeah.
But,
Well,
yeah.
that's cool though. That's a good opportunity to get out and take advantage of all this knowledge. The years of doing this kind of work and being able to share it with the next generation of DJ types.
Yeah, and granted that probably 90% of them didn't care, but if one person did and I could help with that, then that's great.
Well,
And-
that's the thing. For the one that it impacts or the one that it, allows them to go out and actually make money doing what they're enjoying,
Well,
that's huge.
Yeah, and that's kind of the idea for the class on Monday when I have to teach it again. I think I'm just going to do a broad overview and start like with the basics, like, hey, let's set a system up. I'm going to put a bad chord in the equation and help them diagnose it, and then kind of talk about signal flow, and then talk about like the DJ business models that you can have. You can have the multi-op, you can be a club DJ, you could be a producer, you could do this, you could do that. There's a lot of different ways to do it, and I've done pretty much all of it. So if I can kind of answer questions and help them get a head start on their career, whether it's starting a business or working for someone like Jeff or whatever, it'll be good to kind of just go over more practical knowledge versus I just want to learn how to produce so I can fist pump at a festival.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, well, that's cool. Well, and I mean, that's the thing. You and guys like you and Jeff have both been in the game long enough to have experienced sort of ups and downs and growth and how it works to work with the best clients and the worst clients and all that stuff. So I think that kind of experience you just can't get. You kind of have to go through.
Well, that's really it too. Is it's kind of like you don't know what you don't know until you need to know it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Until the situation comes up that you have a ground loop. You don't know how to diagnose a ground loop until the situation arises.
Yeah.
So it's...
Well, yeah, and it's mighty tough to train for that kind of thing. You've got to almost be put into that situation because otherwise you're just taking apart your setup and rebuilding.
Playing chords and trying to figure out what the
hoping
problem
you
is.
can figure it out.
Hoping that the client doesn't notice.
Yeah.
So,
well, cool. So
yeah.
Another thing, so after you returned back to Salt Lake from Phoenix, just while we're on this DJ tip, you also participated in a fun DJ battle here.
Oh, that was actually
Wanna talk
before
about
I
that?
left. I forgot about that. That's been a minute. Yeah. So shout out to Miles. Miles is DJ Lamp Shady. He's a battle DJ, focusing more on like the DMC style DJing where you...
Here in Salt Lake, right?
Yeah, he's here locally in Salt Lake, but he goes in all the major DMC competitions up in Denver and Phoenix and yada yada. He'll go down there and participate in it. And I think he's ranked pretty good or placed pretty high at some point. But he's been working on this program called the Brawlic Army, and it's Rob Swift, and it's a...
And Rob Swift is the dude from the Executioners.
Yeah.
If you've ever heard of the group The Executioners, that's where he's sort of most known for.
And he's
World-class DJ. Dude.
World-class DJ, battle DJ. Just Google him performing in Japan, and it'll blow your mind. So anyways, Miles has been taking lessons from him, and it's actually kind of cool because I think he's the first one that's been kind of tutoring DJs in battle format via Skype out there. I don't think anyone else is doing it. And Miles happened to be his guinea pig for it, the first one he ever worked on to kind of see if it would be possible to teach someone with a webcam. And after it went well with Miles, he started reaching out, and he's got a bunch of students he's working with now, and I actually think I'm going to sign up and do it because it's not very often you get to be taught by someone with his caliber. So because of that, Miles put on a DJ battle here in Salt Lake, and they brought him out, Rob Swift and a guy named Mr. Sinister, and he's legit. If you haven't seen him, check out my Instagram feed. I got some good footage of him cutting it up, and he can kill it. But they flew in. They played at Echo Nightclub the night before, and then the battle was on Saturday. And the battle consisted of 2 different heats, a 5-minute qualifying round, and then a 12-minute final round. And if you make it past the 5-minute, then you can do the 12-minute. And I think there were like 11 or 12 people total that battled. And I placed in the top 5th and was able to do the 12-minute round. And I didn't win it, but it was a great experience. It was good to... I was telling Miles, I was like, granted, I didn't win. I didn't take the money. I didn't, get the accolades that come with taking first. But the fact that I spent the time to put a 5-minute set together that's a 5-minute set I wouldn't have done elsewise, and I had to make a lot of custom edits. I had to do a lot of pre-planning, and just one other thing that will set me apart down the road if I go into like a venue and need to kind of show off or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm already ready. I can do that.
Well, that's the thing, you know. I mean, challenges like that sort of put you in that spot, you know. Like, I mean, an example of this is I applied yesterday to speak at a couple different events, and I am certain they are not going to call me. But even just
You never know.
Well, but even just the reaching out to do that, you know, like put me on watch basically. Like
Well,
all
it's
of a
like-
sudden, okay, now I need to be able to put up when they, you know, if they did call by some random chance, you know, somebody dies and they need a replacement, you know, so they call me. In the event that happens, like, you know, now I need to be able to put up or shut up, right? I emailed them and said I could do this, and these are the things I was going to speak on in XYZ. So I don't presently, don't tell anybody, but I don't presently have that talk put together. It's based on an article I wrote, and I can put it together pretty quickly. But nonetheless, like, I mean, I will have to prepare. But being given an opportunity like that, much like you were in this opportunity, you know, had this opportunity to perform in front of these high-profile guys. You know, what a way to level up.
Yeah.
You know, what a way to all of a sudden have to, you know, step up your game. Like, you may have been a certain level of battle DJ prior to this event.
Well,
but
I wasn't a battle DJ. It's not my focus. It wasn't my forte. In fact, I actually avoided it because most of the competitions and battles, if you can't see the video, I'm doing air quotes, most of them are just a ploy to get people in the nightclub multiple times. A nightclub will come out, oh, we're doing a DJ battle, we got a $500 prize and this and that, but they'll get 15 people on the bill, and you have to play 4 nights, 5 nights consecutive, like every Wednesday for the next 5 weeks, and they base it off of people that show up, and there's no real qualified judges to be judging in the first place. So if you go and you perform, essentially you're just helping the venue sell tickets, and you might win because you have sold enough tickets. And that to me is just, it defeats the purpose, and it's pointless, and I wouldn't want to put my name on that. But when I saw Rob Swift and Mr. Sinister were coming, I was like, I can get behind this. I can do that, you know, just because sharing the stage with someone like that, that caliber is I mean, even if I sucked, it would be just a good thing, you know.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. I mean, so sort of to finish that point, I mean, the idea is that, you know, okay, in this case, battle DJing wasn't your thing at all, yet you took the time, you rehearsed, you built out a set, you did all these things you needed to do to be able to do the work so that you could actually compete.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the fact that you were able to go up there, perform, and then hold your own versus these guys that this is their whole thing.
Dude, I couldn't even believe I placed.
Yeah.
You know, like, it actually was pretty cool. I did this little routine where I did a mashup of Missy Elliott and Jack and Diane, and it works really well. But I did it live, so I took the actual studio acapella of Missy Elliott and I blended it live, and then I transitioned into a couple. I used a beat from Informer, and then a few other ones, but. Into Superstition by Stevie Wonder. And it actually worked really well. And I think I kind of just put it out there that I'm actually a decent DJ. And, you know, I think people in Salt Lake actually know that now. So it's good.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, and that's just the thing. That's what happens when you do that sort of thing is, you know, not only did you have to level up to be able to go out there and perform and compete and, you know, not look like a complete buffoon up there, but, you know, now you're left with, you know, I guess sort of the legacy of people having seen that. You know, I no doubt there are other promoters around, other DJs around, people like that who might spread the word, you know, stuff like that. So, I mean, I think it's really important to go out and be tested every now and then.
Yeah. Oh, and while I was down in Phoenix, I jumped in on this scratch cipher that happens down there once a month. I think it's the 3rd Wednesday of every month. They do this thing at Trill Hip Hop Shop that it's called Fader Manners. And shout out to those guys. They were awesome. It was nice to meet you. And thanks for throwing down with me. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's awesome. Actually, Mike brought me a shirt from there.
From Trill. It's I don't even know who they are. I think it's a graffiti crew.
Cooling out.
Yeah.
That's that much I know,
But
and it's awesome.
It's
so
cool.
shout out to those
I knew
dudes.
Ryan would dig it, so I brought it back for him.
Yeah, when I was a youngling, I used to be into that sort of hip hop crowd and graffiti world and stuff like
Now
that.
he's got to
So-
act professional and all that.
Yeah.
So
Although, you know what? Now it's like as legitimate as ever to be into that stuff. So, I mean, like, honestly, we're trying to like turn back around and get into some of
Get
that
back
stuff
into it.
again. Yeah, I mean, because at this point I'm so out of training and out of school, and like I mean, but hopefully I can get back to it a little bit. I want to start producing more like real art.
Yeah.
You know, I've been doing commercial art for so long that the grand plan is start doing more.
Well,
fine
they
art.
actually teach classes at the Herc here in town. I've told you about them a few times. They're an amazing program. If you have anyone that's wanting to learn break dancing or hip hop culture or DJing, they do DJ courses. Miles, the guy that put that battle on, is actually behind that. So if you want to get taught by someone who knows what he's doing, that's
awesome.
a good program. But one of the classes they teach is graffiti and hip hop art, and so
That's awesome.
might be something you can.
Yeah,
get in
I should go catch up with them because I have been trying to figure out what kind of medium I want to do, but I know eventually I want to do some like mural-y type stuff.
Yeah.
Mostly inspired by that dude that was on our show not too long ago, that F. Dot guy. Eric, I'm going to screw it up, Friedenson or something. F. Dot is his name.
Yeah.
But F. Dot is this cool muralist, and I really love his work. He actually I saw on his Instagram today, he just did some awesome work for like USA TV Network. So
Oh, that's
over
cool.
at 30 Rock down in downtown New York.
That's cool.
And so really cool. He's now a freelancer. He used to work for WeWork, but now he's doing his own thing, and business is booming for him. So if you have any mural opportunities, call him. If you have any collaboration opportunities, let's he and I work together.
There you go.
So anyway, I got to get my chops up a little bit so that maybe he and I can do something together. So, but yeah, pretty cool.
Well, enough about me. What were you up to while I was gone?
Nothing. So, I mean, like I said, well, I mean, it doesn't.
Down to the laptop. I didn't do anything.
Well, it doesn't feel like nothing. I mean, one of the things, I sort of half complained about and half, talked about early on, or about 9 weeks ago, I was coaching my oldest son's football team. This week, this Saturday, we are facing the Bountiful Braves for our championship. So
I think you guys will be fine. You seem to dominate.
Well, we've been champions 4 years running.
There you go.
And but Bountiful is the only undefeated team in our league this year.
Oh.
They bumped us up another division, and actually they were our first game this season, and we lost like by a lot.
That's
So
good.
now the team we are today is not the team we were then, and so I'm sure hopeful that we're going to be able to overcome. And we've got this great group of kids, and they've all hulked up and worked really hard this season. So I hope to
By
see the
hulked
big
up,
W.
I mean, like, are you giving them like the legal stuff? Or,
Yeah, it's
I mean,
all
like,
legal, all legal. But they've definitely put on 20
7-year-old
to 30
adds
pounds
40
of muscle.
pounds of just
Yeah, definitely put on
roid rage going nuts.
at least 30 pounds of muscle this season. But that's normal, I think. For they're growing kids, so they're 12. So
The protein shakes.
yeah, right. So, but nonetheless, we've got the big championship game this weekend, so that's pretty exciting stuff. They've worked really hard this year to achieve it, and we've actually, our toughest games of the season were the last two, our playoff game and the game right before us that got us into the playoffs. Those two games were actually against the same team, but they were a very difficult fight, and so I think we're ready for this weekend, but nonetheless, that's a little scary.
So you just played them and you're playing them again?
Well, we played them 2 weeks ago, and then we played them last week, and we beat them both times. So we eliminated them, and now we are playing Bountiful for the whole kit and caboodle.
That's cool.
So, but if we don't win, this will be our first championship not won for at least 4 years. So it will be a real bummer. So I'm hopeful.
You're like, I don't want to deal with that.
Well,
Come on,
because
win.
it's been more or less the same group of kids this whole time, but they keep bumping up our division a little bit and putting us in a little more challenging schedule because these boys do so well, and so they keep moving us up, and so I'm concerned that or I will say we're at least matched. I don't know how it'll actually end up shaking out, but this is going to be a challenge for us. We're gonna have to work through it.
That's good.
So anyway,
Better that way, anyways.
Yeah, I mean, if it's too easy, it's no fun anyway. It's better for them to go work, so I think it'll be good. So anyway, so that's been, probably the biggest thing sucking time in my life right now, just because it's 3 nights a week, and we're just busy with that. Well, 4 if you count the game day.
Yeah.
And so it's a big time commitment and everything. So it's bittersweet that we're at the end of the season, but I am looking forward to getting my evenings back.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
Yeah, for anybody who is paying any attention, the camera doesn't add 10 pounds, carbs do. And so I've not been cooking that much, and I've put on like 10 pounds in the last 6 weeks, and so I'm just like over it. So
Yeah.
I got to get back to cooking. I got to get back to eating right.
Well, I don't know what I'm going to like, I'm almost done with this rock wall project. I don't know what I'm going to do to stay in shape now.
Yeah, I'm
It's
telling
like-
you, you got to start a landscaping business or something. You got to start doing other people's rock walls now.
Right, and actually
So-
charge for it.
Yeah, right. So because I think you're gonna have trouble maintaining. I mean, before you were like deficient carbs every day or deficient calories every day because you weren't eating enough to work what you worked
Yeah,
off.
I was actually paying attention. Now I eat it all, and I just work it off. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
actually, that's what I was getting after my youngest kid for, because now that he's not playing football, he's not working out at all, but he's still eating like he's working out every day.
There you go.
And so I'm like, dude, you gotta lay off the candy, you gotta lay off all that stuff, because like you're not doing
Guys,
anything.
you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, now you're just watching YouTube all day. Like it's all just going right to your hips. So anyway, so we got to get him back on track. Although I think we're gonna try and find him a boxing gym. So
See, that'd be
kinda
cool. I'd
So
let him
it's-
take some rage out that
fun.
way.
Yeah, well, and it's something he's been interested in like since he was like 5, and we just have never really followed up on. But he's still talking about it. So give it a shot. See if we can find something.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's kind of a fun thing. So this episode, I think, is going to be just a tad short because, as we mentioned at the top, we've got another show queued up right behind this one. So, I mean, we're having a bunch of fun talking and stuff, but I wanted to share one thing
Here
with
we
you
go,
guys.
getting all.
No, I want to give people something that they could actually walk away with and say, you know what, I didn't
I
just
learned
waste an
something.
hour.
I didn't just waste an hour of my time.
Yeah, so anyway, I just wanted to talk a little bit about my experience with Pomodoros,
Oh.
which
yeah.
so like a fancy hat.
Actually, this is a pretty cool
and in
little
fact,
thing.
maybe a fancy hat. And honestly, I
We should
can't-
start a hat brand just because of it.
the Pomodoro hats. So I think pompadour is the hairdo, right?
Oh,
and so it's
yeah.
pretty close to
So
that.
it's like a big hat so you can fit the hairdo in.
Yeah. You rock your Pomodoro over your pompadour.
Wear it over my headphones.
So anyway, so what Pomodoros are, and I just want to share my experience with this. I honestly can't remember whether it first came up on this show with somebody. I think somebody maybe mentioned this as a time management trick on our show. And if I can go back and figure that out, I'll let you know who did it and cite
Give
proper
the proper
sources.
credits.
Yeah, but this week or last week, I was complaining to our little shop assistant helper guy, Brandon, when he comes around.
Speaking of which, he won't be necessarily on producing. Like you heard a few weeks ago, he was the voice of the intro and outro and all that stuff. His schedule kind of
Yeah, he's got some
diverted that, so
schedule conflicts, so I
he
don't know
won't
how
be on
much
as
he'll be
much as you
around.
would think, but
Yeah.
he'll still be around. So
Yeah.
he might pop up in the future.
So anyway, so I was talking to him on text the other day, and I was just complaining because I wasn't getting anything done, and I was feeling overwhelmed by my list of stuff to do, and I just was never making any progress. And he mentioned
He
to me,
started to complain to me, and I just didn't reply.
Yeah,
so
Mike
he
just blew me off,
defaulted
so I
to
had to go to the
Brandon.
next
and,
person.
yeah.
Yeah, whoever would take my text. So anyway, so I was talking to Brandon, and I was like, hey, or just complaining about this, and, talking about some other things. And he mentioned, I've been trying these things. He's like, I've been trying these Pomodoros. It's like, I got this app called Focus To Do, and I'm honestly not sure if that's what the actual app is called or if that's just the name of their little icon.
Yeah.
It looks like a little tomato.
Tomato.
Yeah,
Same.
basically Pomodoros. I'm going to screw this up for sure. I should have probably researched this, but I want to say that it's somehow related to Italian and tomatoes.
It's a
So,
pomegranate.
I'm not sure if maybe a Pomodoro is an Italian
I don't know,
tomato or
isn't-
something. I don't know. Anyway, but basically what it is focused work for set periods of times with little breaks in between.
Okay.
So basically what this app does and what you could do with a tomato timer, they call them. That's why I know there's some affiliation with tomatoes. Is that, basically you set this tomato timer, or in this case, the app for, these are 25-minute. I don't know if that's how they always do it. But basically the idea is you have your to-do list and you assign a certain number of Pomodoros to each task, So for example, I do one every day, or have been the last 2 weeks doing one every day. That's basically just sit down and read for 2 Pomodoros, which is 50 minutes, 25 minutes a piece with a little 5-minute break in between. So it's a 55-minute run of basically focused reading. And I put my phone on silent and, do not disturb mode or whatever. And then you start the little timer and you read until it buzzes on you. And then you take your little 5-minute break, you take a leak, you get a drink, whatever you need. Then you come back out and you finish up your second Pomodoro in this case. And so I have found for me that this is working out great. So shout out to Brandon for this thing, because this was a good turn on. Although I know somebody else mentioned this, here on the show at some point. But but basically I would encourage everybody to give this thing a shot, because basically what I've started to do is really focus the work I'm doing, and I've become very productive using this thing. Having only done it for about 6 or 7 days at this point, like I've done more in this last 6 or 7 days than I have done in a long time up to that point. Mike,
Because
what
you're
have you
focusing
learned?
on one thing mainly. But Pomodoro
Well, that's
is
100% what it is focus.
the Italian word for tomato.
Aha!
After the
Both Italians and
tomato-shaped
tomatoes.
kitchen timer that the guy that invented it used when he started. So it started in the 80s. A guy named Francesco Cirillo
You have a
developed it.
horrible Italian accent.
And it's traditionally 25 minutes in length, and that's probably because that's all the timer would take.
Yeah.
So
Well, for me, it is just enough time. Like, it starts to feel long by the end of that 25th minute. Well, I guess it depends what you're doing. But, like, when I'm reading, like, my brain is constantly trying to pull me out of a book and into
it's
something
because you're
else.
used to pulling your attention to this thing, your phone, and like focusing on something for 25 minutes. You're used to Instagram.
Yeah, and I imagine
Facebook.
that it may be as effective or more effective even with a analog timer, with something more like that little tomato timer.
Yeah.
But for me, the app's been working pretty good, and like I say, I mean, yeah, it's this focus time. I mean, this is something that I can traditionally have had problems with. I'm constantly saying that I've got ADD or whatever else because I just can't focus.
It's like when you're focused on a project that you have a deadline for, and it's like, I got to spend the next 4 hours working on this. You get more done in that 4 hours than you did the 3 weeks building up to it because
and
that's what you're focused
that's
on.
been the case for me for sure. Sort of been the modality, the way that I've worked over the years and stuff like that is, it's always been good for me to have a little bit of a deadline just so that I have something to focus on, and a lot of people say that, in the goal writing space and people, who try and help you with goal setting and things like that. That's one of the things they often say is that, having sort of a deadline can give you that push or that whatever you need. And for me, even having a deadline, if it's like a week out, like it's still pretty easy to procrastinate until the day or two before. Yeah. And so what I like about this Pomodoro thing is that it's sort of quick and easy to use. It's just these little 25-minute bite-sized things. So the part of me that is constantly trying to pull me towards some other project or some other whatever, I can put off for 25 minutes. Like I'm able to fight through that, that urge for at least 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Like if it was a 1 hour timer, like it would be probably pretty hard for me to commit to this thing for an hour. But for 25 minutes, for whatever reason, totally bite-sized, and I feel like I can do it.
Yeah.
So I would definitely give that a shot. Again, the app is called Focus To Do. I'll put the links someplace probably. But it's definitely, there are a million Pomodoro apps, so I assume any one of them would be fine. Or just get yourself a little egg timer, probably, or tomato timer if you want to be on theme.
Yep, get that way.
And get the little Pomodoro timer and give it a shot. And then, hit us up here at the show. Let me know what you think about it, because for me, like I say, I'm only about 7 or 8 days into it. And so, I don't want to go too nuts and say that it's the best thing since sliced bread. But it definitely seems
I
like
don't know. Sliced bread and tomatoes go well together.
Yeah, but
I'm just saying BLTs are the way to go.
Well, it definitely feels better than unsliced bread. So I think it's somewhere in between.
Just get a whole loaf.
Yeah. So I think we're somewhere in between, and I think it's going to be good. For me, so far, it's been pretty good. And actually, I've found when I slip back into my habits of just doing things that aren't on the list, or I'm doing things that without this timer set, I find that my brain starts drifting and I start getting into 100 different things again. Like on the days that I've been hyper-focused and just followed this list verbatim, it works great.
Well, A, you're putting a list of things you need to accomplish, and B, you're giving yourself deadlines, micro deadlines to work on heats or sprints of the project. So it
Yeah, it
I
makes
think
sense,
it's good.
right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and that's always been the thing is, I've told my wife, a million times that I'm the guy that doesn't know how to run a to-do list. Like, for me, I'll sit and write stuff down, but then I won't even go back to the list. I'll have written it and then walked away.
Yeah.
And so for me, this has been useful. And, I'm doing it by phone, which I've been having my own trepidations or issues with the phone lately. And, trying to make it a smaller part of my life.
Well,
but this has been a useful function, something that I'm happy with. So
yeah, you can't go wrong.
Yeah, cool, man. All right, well, yeah, let's get out of here. We got about a half hour until Homeboy gives us a shout, and we're really looking forward to it. For me, listening and deep listening has been something that's always been a challenge. I feel like my brain is moving too fast a lot of times to really give people their due, and I think, or I'm hopeful that we'll learn a couple things that'll make us better interviewers in this little conversation with Oscar.
Yeah, and shout out, you got his book handy?
Yeah.
Show that book real quick.
Yeah, let me grab it. I think he has another book too, but this one is called Deep Listening. He was kind enough to send us this little deck of cards that he's got.
Yep, and he sent us, or the studio, a thank you card, but it only had Ryan's name on it, so I threw it away.
Well, I'm the most handsome of the two, so it makes perfect sense. But anyway, so Deep Listening with Oscar Tromboli, I hope I'm not butchering his name, Trimboli probably, is coming up next week. I think you guys are going to have a great show to tune into, because this is really important stuff, and I think this, especially, you guys have heard me ramble on a bunch of times about the importance of relationships and things like that, and what better way to improve your relationships than through great listening. So really looking forward to that conversation, and looking forward to sharing it with you next week.
Yeah, should be fun.
So cool, everybody. We'll have an awesome week, and we'll see you the same time next week. Same bat time, same bat channel, all that stuff. So
can we end with the bat logo to zoom out?
Yeah. In the meantime, hit us up at eggscast.com. Hit us up on all the socials. Send us notes, questions, comments, concerns, whatever you got. Like, we're looking to build up some community here, and we really want to hear from the people who listen to this show. Let us know how bad we suck, how much we could improve, what we could work on, what they'd like more of, less of, etc. So
and
hit us up.
Rate, like, and subscribe.
Yep. Tell your mom, tell your friends.
Do it.
Cool. All right. We'll say hug
Peace.
somebody you care about. Peace out. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.
See ya.